This is Vince Russo of The Brand, and you're watching Let's Play TEW.
And before we get into this episode, I do just want to say a quick apology. I did record about 8 intros for episodes for the Cornoverse 2014 series before realizing that I could not do it in the way that I was planning on doing it. And all the episodes will now be out of order. So when I say hello and welcome to episode 3 of Cornoverse, it actually probably won't be. Like I said, I do apologize for that, but I kind of realized it like halfway through finishing up the editing on one, and all 8 intros are already done. So pay more attention to the title than what I'm actually saying in the beginning, but the content inside of it will still be about the same. So there you go. And on to the show. Hello and welcome to Let's Play 2 2013, and this is a new series. I have no idea what we're going to call it. Cornoverse 2014, and we're episode 1. This is SWF 1, and we are. I'm actually recording live. We have a chat here. Chat says hello to YouTube, and we're going to be booking 8 companies, starting with SWF. So we're going to do a little introduction to SWF, and there's a little bit of sorting out that needs to be done, but the rest of the episodes will be the actual shows that we need to get to. So this is just an introduction to the series, maybe setting up SWF where it needs to be, calling up a few people, doing what needs to be done there. First things first, Richard Eisen, he needs to take his annual 6-month vacation so that he doesn't poison our locker room. I would hate for Kurt Laramie to grab him while he was walking off stage and get suspended for 90 days. We got 2 managers without any clients. It's about to be 3 because we're going to call up 3 people. We're going to call up Pierce, Spade, and Brown. They're going to come onto the main roster. Primus Allen will probably be coming on shortly. And then we're going to look at our storylines that we have. We may choose to end some of them at the next pay-per-view. We may not. As for storylines, we have Bruce versus Remo, which is awesome. Jack Bruce is the current champion. Eisen versus Valiant, which is less awesome. Freely versus Chase Agency, which is it's about where Steve Freely belongs. And Gilmore versus Money, which I can turn into something awesome. Step 1, we're going to pair Jesse with Angry Gilmore, and then Kristen Pierce with Rich Money. So Gilmore, manager, Jesse. And then Rich is going to get Kristen Pierce. That leaves us with Dawn the cheerleader, who is our best manager, needing to be assigned, but I actually like the idea of her being here. Dawn or Anna. 72. Okay. We'll leave it there. we're also fixing up our announcing to make sure that that goes well. All right, chat, here we go. Who should Dawn manage? Also, who to hire for developmental? While they're ruminating over that, I'm going to hire some people for developmental that I always hire. Paradigm. Sorry, other me, MAW. Paradigm's going too. Alright, I'm not a good negotiator. And why not? We'll bring in Paradox and Paranoia as well. Remember, this is for developmental, so we're not looking to bring anyone onto the main roster. So if they're too good, Steven Parker, they're not going to go to developmental. I see Fro Shore. Despite, well, I don't want to spoil stuff for the Dynasty, but let's say I'm not thrilled with him at the moment, but I'll bring him in. Nope. Oh, I don't think I made the other two developmental. Well, whatever. I can throw them in developmental when they get onto the roster. Mainstream Hernandez also to developmental. Okay. Interesting. And that'd be it. I don't think Mainstream's going to come to developmental, but that's a... Oh, looks like he is. Alright, so Faith brings in some people for developmental. Who do we got for Dawn to manage? No one. We got no... Oh, Lobby and Dawn. You know, sure. There you go. Lobster Warrior. So our pre-booking for our next pay-per-view, when Hell Freezes Over, we'll have Jack Bruce. This is a thing I usually do. Hell in a Cell, or as it's called here, Steel Cell match. Bruce, Remo, main event. Money and Gilmore. And what was the other one? Oh, goodness. Come on. Freely and Rogue. And then I know there's one more. Oh, Eisen and Valiant. So that's a decent amount of matches to start off with. We have to figure out what we're doing with everything else once we get there. But I think we've set things up well. Oh, we have one more to bring into developmental. Austin Smooth. So we're going to bring him in. You know, Faith, your negotiating skills are going to be the death of me. All right, so let's talk about what SWF is going to be with me running them. So we look at their product here and what's making me make this decision. So they are a heavy cult, heavy risque, heavy traditional style. I am going to be basing this on late 90s WWF or late 90s WCW, take your pick, and going to be booking like that. So you're gonna see I don't want to say hot shotting of titles, but like title prestige won't matter as much. I'm gonna be doing more shock TV type things, and just more goofing around with that style. So should be interesting. We'll see how it goes. And for long-term goals, I really don't have anything set in stone of what I want to do. I'm going to be booking SWF more as a let's see where this takes us type situation. But we're definitely going to be pushing for like big stories, big memorable events type situation, like we did back in the 90s with WWF. So it's going to be something I've never really booked before because I've never really booked for events. I usually book for matches. So let's see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next at TCW. Do this thing. We got a bunch of people who I couldn't fit on the card. Retro, Davids, Dylan, Zimmy Bumphole, Garcia, Sexy, Rogue, and McLean, and the heels go over in a dark match with Garcia beating Dylan with a Romeo is Bleeding. In a decent match, actually. And another decent match between heels I couldn't get on and faces I couldn't get on. I believe a lot of these guys, or the faces, were mentioned in the card, but Faith and the Hero Squad beating Sensitive Dubois. Oh, this again. Dubois and Roberts. And a 66 is pretty good for the dark match. And that's really good for a dark match. Gilmore and Bruce were both on the card, but they were both talking only, and I wanted to have Spade and Brown get a very good debut. And it looks like they can be a tag team, so that's good for me. And let's get on to the actual card with a video showing the main event of the last Supreme TV of 2013 with Rich Money and Anger Gilmore fighting to a time limit draw. There are stills of the action shown along with calls from the announce team, and the package ends with Dwayne Fry shouting that this is far from over, and that gets an 80B, which is very good. And we see that we'll be seeing Steve Freely and Paul Huntington. And also Rich Money and Lobster Warrior, all tonight on Supreme TV. But we start with a match. The Awesomeness and the Pain Alliance. Pain Alliance going over via ego trip from Big Smack Scott. And then they get on the mic and they go improv, basically saying that they're getting a title shot because they're two big tough guys and no one says no to two big tough guys. If you don't like that, you can meet them backstage and talk about it, but they'll be taking on Hero Squad and taking the titles. We then get Randy Bumphole getting a win over John Greed in a decent mid-card match. And then out of nowhere, Vengeance is there and he completely obliterates Randy Bumphole. Why? Why is this happening? No one knows. But we have to move on. We go backstage to pre-done promo. Rich Money in his private locker room. He's perfecting his hair. He winks at the camera and just says, they say a tie is like kissing your sister, Gilmore. However, when you got Rich Money's deep pockets, you just pay to kiss other people's sisters. And Kristen Pierce walks into the shot and blows a kiss at the camera. Rich smirks, walks away, and the scene is over. So Pierce obviously didn't help the promo, but it helps the storyline. So, wow, okay. We then immediately go into Freely and Huntington, with Freely going over with Freely's Comet. And they had great chemistry, so that helped. But holy cow, I'm going to have to do that again on a pay-per-view. Wow, that was real good. Even this was good. And we got to get BJ O'Neill away from American Machine as they don't have chemistry. But, yeah, Remo going over, getting a win in this storyline here. And Jack Bruce just comes out and talks down Remo, basically saying, yeah, you could beat these guys, you could beat this guy, but no one's Jack Bruce, Jack, and you can't beat Jack Bruce. And Remo just goes to take him out, and the two are held apart by all these jobber wrestlers and security, and basically they have the big pull apart brawl. There will be a contract signing next week, hopefully, if I remember. A quick scene marked earlier tonight shows Eric Eisen backstage with Emma Chase. Eric's in the middle of talking, and you could hear, Grand, yeah, just make sure your big boy Brandon takes out Valiant. And Emma Chase noticed the camera, and the scene cuts out. And then Brandon James goes up against Valiant. Valiant does get the win in a hard-fought contest. That's the semi-main event. And then we go right into the main event with Rich Money beating Lobster Warrior with a bankroll. 82B, great. And let's see how our main event angle takes. Yeah, not bad, a 78B. So Rich Money is in the ring, and he's doing his theatrics. And Gilmore just bomb rushes, does a MMA takedown, and starts laying on mounted fists on Rich Money. And Money slinks away, gets out the crowd, with Gilmore screaming for him to get back. And you could tell that there's just rage building in Angry Gilmore. And we increase our popularity with an 81B. And probably the best first Supreme TV I've ever booked, to be honest. Good stuff. And hopefully it's got you guys excited to see where we go with this pay-per-view. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one.